Snapchat tries to give React Native a run for its money with Valdi. GitHub builds a headquarters for agents, and TanStack DB gets a lazy upgrade. Let's get right into it. It's Front End Fire, and I'm your host for this week, Jack Harrington. With me are my esteemed colleagues, Paige Niederinghaus.
Hey, everybody.
And TJ Ventole.
Hey, everybody.
We're here to give you all the week's UI front full stack news. And there's some good stuff this week. So, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Valdi. Paige, let's talk about it.
Yes. So Valdi is a newly open-sourced cross-platform UI that Snapchat just released, actually, which was, I think, surprising to everyone. I didn't know Snapchat had built their own platform,
right.
Although it makes a lot of sense because, the filters and all the other interesting things that they do on mobile. But yeah, they have just open-sourced it, and right now, if you look at the GitHub repo where they have it, they say it's in beta because they want to improve the tooling and the docs for it, but it has also been running on Snapchat's platform for 8+ years, so it's pretty well battle tested.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. It's funny, I've forgotten all about Snapchat.
Yeah,
I'm not,
honestly,
yeah.
I had to. I remember back in the day, I got a Snapchat account, and I think I tried it for half an hour and then quit and never opened it again.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat, but it's a really good app. The one thing they're good at, their tech is pretty solid, and I had no idea there was some cross-platform JavaScript-based thing going on in there also, because I hadn't heard any engineering write-ups about that, so this was completely out of the blue for me too.
Yeah, it was very much a surprise. But the thing that that Valdi kind of touts as one of its best features, or one of its big features, is that it delivers the native performance without sacrificing developer velocity. And this is taken directly from their GitHub repo.
Okay.
So the idea is that you can write your UI once in TypeScript, which everybody loves, and it compiles to native views on iOS, on Android, on Mac OS. There are no web views, no JavaScript bridges, which is something that recently was, I think, refactored out of React Native. But basically, they really want to make it feel like you're just writing kind of typical React-style JSX, and it just works on native platforms, which is really cool. So some of the features that they offer are instant hot reloading without having to recompile.
That's cool. On React Native,
that's a big
great.
one. Full VS Code debugging, so you can set breakpoints and you can step through your code just as if you were doing any sort of a web application. It integrates into existing applications, so if you already have native apps that are built or running, you can embed Valdi into them, or vice versa. You can start with Valdi and then integrate your native application into it as well, so it plays nice with other frameworks and types of already built mobile apps. And it just generates the type-safe bindings between TypeScript and native platforms. So all that good TS safety that we have come to know and love in the front-end world and the JavaScript world comes to native, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
It's got some of the things that are pretty important, because from my background in NativeScript, I know that it was very rare that somebody could write their entire application just in cross-platform JavaScript. Pretty much inevitably, if you're doing anything of any scale, you'd always have to go into native stuff somewhere, depending on what you're building. Like something your app needs to do custom, you need to dive down into native code. But just looking through this, they've clearly thought of this. That was the biggest thing people asked for us in NativeScript, was the ability to use NativeScript for some of your app and not all of it, which this does as well. So they've clearly thought through this, and it would make sense because they build a very, very complex, very widely used app, that they've thought about the concerns of people building this at a high scale, which I think means we should take this a little more seriously than just some random
competitor
framework that spits up the framework of the week.
Yeah. So, between Valdi and Lynx, which was open source from ByteDance, who does
Mm-hmm.
TikTok, and React Native, there are some really good options now just for building mobile first applications that seem to really be able to scale and stand up well to large volumes of users, which is what everybody wants when they choose a framework.
Yeah, it's a another good day for JavaScript developers because it means less of a chance that you're going to have to dive down into native iOS or native Android code, which I'm guessing nobody listening to this podcast is going to want to do. So,
and I really like the idea that they're emphasizing that you don't have to build your whole app in this. So you can go and say, like, if you got like a cart experience or something like that, that you can have you can do that in Valdi, and then you can do the rest of the app and like the super native stuff. So you get the like really good, ultra smooth animations and whatever you get from native.
Yeah, lots of times there's reasons why you'd want one of the main reasons you drop down into native. Some of it is just API support, but a lot of it is just richer animations, because if you try to do this with like the equivalent of CSS and how it's transpiled, you're never going to get the performance if you're just going straight to the metal. So for that mission critical stuff, usually native apps at any sort of scale are going to want to drop down to native for that. And just having the ability to go back and forth is pretty important. And obviously this is completely brand new. I will say that I don't think anybody listening to this should drop in right away. It's still in beta. The docs are all in just a GitHub repo. So, I mean, maybe if this is your world and you're about to embark on a really big mobile project, maybe then check it out. But I think for most other people, we just let this one cook for a while and see where it goes.
And here I was thinking that I was going to jump in and try it out today. Oh, well. Yeah. All right, I'll take your advice on that. Okay,
you got a great new mobile app idea when you're in San Francisco, and you're just
actually, I'm always, it's for me, it's exciting to do like Mac OS work. Like I'm just a big desktop fan, so the idea of like, I don't know, making a nice little desktop app that, I don't know, just AI chat or something like that. It's cool,
Yeah,
it could be fun. All right, GitHub has a new headquarters for agents.
They have a bunch of stuff. So GitHub held their GitHub Universe event, which they're starting to make a much bigger deal about, and it's turned into like the AI show because that's
because everything turns into the AI show.
What we do.
Everything is nowadays. So they do have a bunch of updates. The headlining thing that came out of their event was this agent, what they call Agent HQ, which I think is pretty clever branding. I like the idea. And the idea is that, as the name sort of implies, it's this headquarters for running agents and agentic tasks. And there's a couple big things that make this a little bit unique. The first is that they're saying that this is for all agents, so not just GitHub specific agents. So they're saying you can use Claude Code, Codex, XAI based agents, and probably some others as well. And they're doing it in a way where you can access these agents everywhere. So you can run them on github.com, on the web. They're also bringing them into Visual Studio Code. If you have updated your Visual Studio Code recently, you'll notice there's a new tab in there. Let me get the name of it, hover over this, called Agent Sessions, that's now in VS Code. They're saying that they'll also allow you to interact with agents from the GitHub mobile app. So Jack, we've talked about this dream before. You're out on a run. You got to check in with your agents.
Right?
You gotta
exactly. Yeah.
Give them the next thing. You can also interact with these agents from Slack or Teams. So they're trying to establish themselves as like this, basically mission control for all your agents. They have the infrastructure to list all of these agents that are running so that you can check them anywhere. And I don't know, I think it's a decent idea. It's coming soon. So pieces of this are starting to show up, like the new tab in Visual Studio Code, but not all of this is live quite yet. But they painted a pretty interesting vision of where they're going with this.
I wonder if this is going to get rolled into Cursor, because notoriously all of these other IDEs are just forks of VS Code. So it's like, are we going to get that too? And will that get integrated? I don't know. Interesting.
Well, it's kind of like what we've talked about, where the Chromium AI browsers are all kind of converging to do the same things. It feels the same way with these agents and these coding IDEs, because one of them comes out with planning mode, and then suddenly everybody has planning mode, and one comes out with multi-agent runners, and then suddenly other people can run agents multiple ones. So it almost feels like the same kind of thing. It's like we're eventually going to have, I don't know, maybe some kind of an amalgamation where everybody just comes together and there's the new VS Code fully powered with AI everything, or there's the Chrome browser with fully powered AI. I wonder.
It's a little clippy and it comes up in the bottom of the screen. What would you like to build today?
Yeah, for real.
It's very funny, Paige, that you mentioned plan mode specifically, because another thing on my list is that Visual Studio GitHub Copilot is getting a plan mode that's similar to what Amazon's doing with Kiro. So, yep, that's another feature that they're taking on as well.
It didn't have that?
No, it did not.
Wow.
Not specifically.
Okay.
And Claude Code has one now too, where you toggle Claude with, I think it's Tab Shift, and you can switch the mode that Claude's in. And plan mode is supposed to be like a higher powered Claude for before you want to actually write code. It creates a plan and, reads a bunch of stuff in your application when you tell it what you want to do. And then you approve the plan, and then it can go into editing mode.
Interesting. I didn't even know that it made it into Claude Code. So these things are changing all the time.
It's been in Cursor for a little while. I certainly use it like when there's definitely like kind of like 3 grades. There's like the tab kind of stuff that you do, and then there's like the little agentic stuff, which is like go and find all the references, blah blah blah, blah, change them, whatever. And then there's more like the add a feature thing, and that's generally when you use the plan. And hip tip, like actually read the plan, because you can see that like, oh, it doesn't understand that it's gonna it's like I'm gonna rewrite this whole library, and you're like, no, you're not, no,
Yes, do read the plan, because there will be assumptions in there that don't make sense. There will be things in there that you didn't include or didn't want it to include. And then there will also be questions that it has that you already know the answer to. And you can be like, no, you don't have to worry about that. Or here's how you deal with that.
We're good.
So, yeah.
And those are actually really good. Like, generally speaking, the first thing that happens, at least in Cursor, after you give it your overall thing, is it asks you, a couple, 3, 4 questions about like, what do you mean by this? And that sort of thing. And then you can kind of clarify that. And then it rolls off and makes the plan.
Cool.
And then review that plan before you hit the build. Yeah.
Well, speaking of taking features, there is a new Copilot CLI that looks a whole lot like Claude Code CLI. In fact, like suspiciously close to Claude Code CLI. Has the same basic look on the top and everything. And it does a lot of the same things that Claude. It's basically just, this is part of their thing to bring agents everywhere, right? So you have to have a CLI for working with agents as well. There's a new agentic Copilot reviewer. So in GitHub pull requests, we've covered and talked about this before. In GitHub pull requests, if you are a pro subscriber to GitHub Copilot, you can add Copilot to reviews. Well, apparently they've made a bunch of agentic updates to that thing, and it's going to be better in all sorts of different ways. And I guess we'll see how that goes. And then the last thing I had on my list is that they're pushing out this new code quality tool. They talked a lot about dashboards that they're going to build so that you have a better sense of your ecosystem. And some of that is for admins. So if you're an important person listening to this podcast, this is like dashboards for how your team is using these tools. Are they utilizing them? What is usage looking like? So they're creating dashboards for that. But this code quality tool is more for developers. It's apparently going to grade your repository on maintainability and reliability, and offer AI findings and suggestions for how you can help with that. So that'll be something interesting. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I get grades. Okay, yeah.
Some of the projects I work on, I don't think I'm gonna.
Yeah, don't.
You're not gonna do well. Yeah. Don't look at that.
Yeah, Paige and I were just on another podcast where we talked about the Octoverse report, which is this report that came out from GitHub Universe, which because they got the OctoCat became like Octoverse, and the big finding was obviously like people are using the heck out of AI, and one of the things that's happening is like the OSS repositories are getting flooded with AI PRs. So, if you are like in the OSS world, try and get, access to that GitHub Pro. I think it is complimentary for a lot of OSS folks. Yeah, so that you can at least use that to kind of like de-chaff the, the
So you
Dig
can use
yourself
AI
out.
to deal with the AI that's
Yeah.
coming in.
AI, get more AI in
Bots
there. Just
talking
AI,
to bots.
Really? Okay.
But I'd say overall, this is, I mean, clearly GitHub is doubling, tripling down on their AI implementations. I do think the Agent HQ thing is pretty smart from them from a business perspective, because they're kind of acknowledging that their Copilot stuff isn't as great from an AI perspective, that a lot of people are using things like Claude Code otherwise. So they're kind of embracing that and just wanting people to use their infrastructure, because github.com is used by a lot of people and is very good. Visual Studio Code is used by a lot of people and is really good. So I think they're just trying to leverage that. And I don't know, we'll see when this starts to roll out.
Cool.
Nice. All right. Well, out of the world of AI for a second, back into the world of TanStack. TanStack DB just released its 0.5 version. So what this is doing, if you're not familiar with TanStack DB, it is a live query sync system. So basically the idea is you got these two kind of things, which is like a collection, which represents your data. And it could sit on top of like your REST APIs, your GraphQL, or your database. And then you've got queries, which query those collections. And so with 0.5, they are adding a new sync mode to all these collections. So you can either be eager, which means that you get the entire collection in one shot, boom, and think of a collection as like an array, a table, like an or table, kind of thing. That's really good for like, user preferences. I just need my addresses or whatever. You got like 10 of them or whatever. And there you go, boom. And then there's on demand. So if you got like big databases, so you've got like collections that have like 50,000 rows or something like that, and you definitely don't want to just go and just grab that and send that to the client, all the time, or right away, eagerly. You can use this on demand, and then basically pages. So as you go from page to page, it then hits the collection up for more stuff. And then progressive, which is interesting because it kind of splits the difference between the two. It actually eagerly loads like the first chunk. And then after that, in the background, it loads more chunks so that as you're paging along, it's fast. So yeah, it's a really nice enhancement to all of that, and I'm seeing a lot of excitement out there for this TanStack DB stuff. It's not the library that like, oh yeah, immediately is like, oh yeah, we're going to use that kind of thing. You actually have to invest in building out those collections, because sometimes they might not have the collection for your type of data source, or type of data source might be custom. So you actually got to go and build that. But once you've got that, you can give yourself kind of like if you're familiar with it, like a Firebase or a Convex style experience, where if you just, all you got to do is say, I want to add a to-do, and then you add a to-do to the collection, and it goes off to the server. And then there's essentially a live sync that happens between the server and the client, so that any query that is looking at those to-dos gets automatically updated with those to-dos, and it actually supports offline mode and things like that as well. So that's really cool. But basically, you don't have to ever do that cycle again, where you're like posting to the server and then doing a get to get back the data and managing it all yourself, and they might go out of sync and all that sort of stuff. So TanStack DB is how to go and manage all of that, but on top of any data source, not just like Convex or Firebase.
Yeah, it helps avoid you don't totally avoid, but it makes it easier, because if you don't use something like this, you're like, do I optimistically update? And then what do I do if I fall back? Mm-hmm. And I mean, you still have to concern yourself with that a little bit, but it makes it a lot easier than if you're hand rolling all of this, because it's one thing if you're simple, but as your data starts to scale up and you have tables that relate to other tables, and then like all of a sudden you have to like roll back and update to that, and you're like, oh my, what?
Yeah, and that's where that query thing comes in. The query thing is basically a full query engine built on top of those collections, and you can give it like where clauses and sorting and all that kind of stuff. It's really cool. And now with the ability to do like the sync mode, right now you're not like naively just, I'll get all the data and do it in memory and that kind of thing. It actually, will go and chunk that up for you.
Yeah, that is very cool.
Yeah. All right. Do we have any lightning news this week?
We do.
Okay. It's raining. Enlightening.
All right, I got a collection of small things.
Ooh, I love it.
The first was one headline that caught my eye, and it's from our friends at GitHub. They're a popular topic this week, but they've eliminated toasts from their designs. So toasts, if you're unfamiliar, are the little kind of like pop-up things. Like it's usually, I think most often used for confirmation. I click the OK button. A little thing pops in the top corner or the bottom corner that says save successfully, and then it like kind of goes away. So their write-up, which you can read through, they get very, very thorough in this, and it'll be in the show notes. But the main reason is for accessibility reasons.
I was just going to ask if that was it. Yeah, okay.
Because toasts can be great, but they talk about how things that go away in UI are usually not great from an accessibility perspective because you don't know if somebody saw it or not. Toasts also get placed in an awkward spot in the DOM. And the reason that's important is because if you're showing something, usually you want the user to be aware that you're showing something. And the toasts just get put randomly at the top of the bottom. There's no great way to announce it to people, and you don't necessarily want to just be announcing things to people randomly when using some of these accessibility tools. And then the last reason is that the toasts are also really awkward to use with a keyboard. So if you have a toast that doesn't go away automatically so that users can for sure see it, like getting your cursor getting the keyboard, like it's not the next logical thing in tab order. So then how do you get rid of the stupid thing? So they could be useful, but I thought it was interesting because we probably have a lot of people listening to this that use toasts in their designs. And
Sure.
I don't think this is necessarily a reason to rip them out or anything like that, but just something to be aware of as you're making future design decisions and something to keep in mind.
Well, what do they replace them with?
That was my question. What are they doing instead?
Basically, just simple confirmations. They give details in the guide, but they try to avoid being fancy.
Wow. And that's so funny that they're doing that because there are entire libraries that are just about toasts.
Oh my God, yeah.
All over NPM.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm kind of conflicted because part of me is like, sometimes they're supplemental to me. Well, I guess maybe not. At least I view them as, I kind of assumed it works, and that's just a nice little confirmation in the corner of my eye that it actually did save successfully. And so like if an accessibility tool misses it, it's not necessarily the end of the world. You can just kind of assume it works if you don't see a toast. I don't know, maybe that's a bad take, but I don't think based off this I would rip these out of my systems, but it's just something I would read through and keep in the back of my head.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, next one is Firefox has a mascot update.
I know.
think this is
so cute.
It's so great.
Kit. Oh, cute.
It's Kit. Kit is an adorable little fox.
He is so adorable.
You should click the link in the show notes to check out Kit. You can buy merch with Kit, which I added to my Christmas list this year because I gotta represent Firefox really well. But you can get merch. They say they'll be weaving Kit into more things moving forward, which is I think good news for all of us.
Firefox needed a new mascot, and Kit is a great addition to the list.
Yeah, because it's clearly, I mean, it looks like the fox from the logo mostly. It's just kind of like a modern, cuter version of it, essentially. So I think it works.
It kind of
works really good.
Stretched a little bit. He's kind of taller than before.
Yeah, a little stretched.
Yeah, he's very cute. Yeah, I'm looking at the merch right now. It's just very subtle,
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I do like the. They've got the tumbler, like the thing for coffee, and it kind of wraps
Stanley
his tail
cup.
around. That's okay. That would be cool, but it's very subtle, very subtle.
All right, and then our last lightning news item for the week is that the Collins Dictionary, which is a dictionary I didn't know existed, but they announced that their word of the year for 2025 is vibe coding. So,
of course,
2025 is officially the year of vibe coding, and which is weird because it's kind of two words, so I don't know how that works, but apparently it's a big deal.
Okay. I'm so torn about vibe coding. On the one hand, it's great that we have democratized coding and so many people are now into it, and the Octoverse report talks about this.
Mhm.
Yeah. On the other hand, oh my God, some of this code is really bad. Like I just did this this hackathon for Y Combinator, and it was on top of this emergent platform. And looking at the code that it generated behind the scenes, it was like, yo, this is not good. I mean, it was like old school create React app sitting on top of a fast API thing. And, my teammate was showing me the Python that it was generated in his project, and it was just jank. It was not great. So I don't know.
I feel like a lot of these vibe coding things end up, when you reach a certain level of complexity, you'll end up paying AI a lot to spin its wheels and just to try to mangle all of this. And, at some point it'll probably, it depends on how complex you're getting. I feel like that's basically the line. If you're making a small little utility app that does one or two small things, I think you can 100% vibe code your way there and be good. But as what you're trying to accomplish becomes more complex, the chances of success go down.
Yeah. Well, and another thing is as your user base scales, your chances of success go down, because we've
That
seen
too, yeah.
these vibe coded apps in the wild, and people's credentials get hacked and suddenly their driver's licenses are available on the dark web and their identities have been revealed, and it was because it was built in a weekend or a couple weeks by somebody who wasn't a software engineer but had an idea, and now they made it real.
I think the biggest place this is going to sting us is in at least the U.S. government. We seem like we want to go and replace like large sections of the IT groups in government with AI, which doesn't seem like a great idea when it comes to the fact that like government deals with a lot of this very sensitive data about our personal profiles. And if it's leaked out there, that would be bad. So
Yeah.
I get the feeling that's where like we're going to get some maybe congressional oversight into all this is, when this thing goes, when government crashes something because of this, it's going to be like, whoa, what were you doing again? You did what?
You cajoled your AI agent into sharing what sensitive information?
Right? Yeah.
I do, though, have a fun game that we can play, because the Collins Dictionary under this vibe coding has a short list of other words that basically the runners up for word of the year.
Yes.
And I want to get your reactions to all of these, if you've heard of them or you're aware of them. So how about aura farming? Are you familiar with aura farming?
Nope.
I don't think so.
It is. I did not know this one either. It's the deliberate cultivation of a distinctive and charismatic persona.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
The second one I did know, biohacking.
Yes.
Yes.
So
that's
yeah.
2025.
Yeah, I don't know why that's on the list
Been
now.
around.
Apparently that's but altering the natural processes of one's body in an attempt to prove your health and longevity. So biohacking. Broligarchy, which
Yeah.
I had not heard of this one. I'd never heard anybody use this word before, but it's apparently a small clique of very wealthy men. Broligarchy. So
Wow.
there you
I
go.
don't have any idea what that might apply to.
There's clanker, which is
Yeah.
a derogatory term for a computer, robot, or AI.
Yeah. I would
Which I
say
actually
That's
like.
great.
I had not heard this used before, and I feel like I have to start to use it.
I've heard it in sci-fi. Yeah, read it in sci-fi for a while. That
Clanker,
Oh.
yeah.
Nice.
It's mostly about robots, and mostly after the robot apocalypse.
It's like yeah.
It's the term that the humans used when they were fighting the clankers. Kind of
Makes sense.
Yeah.
How about coolcation? Holiday in a place with a cool climate. I never heard anybody use this word before.
No.
I never heard of it.
That's so dumb. Come on.
Yeah.
The next one, though, I've heard of because of my kids. I've reached apparently now an age where my kids are teaching me the slang. But
Oh yeah.
Have you heard glaze used? Glazing
Yes.
somebody.
Yes.
So that's to praise or flatter someone excessively. I had not heard of that one until my kids told me about it. So I've yet to use it. But it's on the list.
It was a complaint actually not that long ago with one of the versions of ChatGPT that came out. And this was like Sam Altman, I think, said this, or he acknowledged this, that it glazed too much. So it was
No,
just like,
yeah.
it was worse than Claude telling you you're absolutely right all the
I was
time.
gonna
It was
say,
just
you're absolutely right about that page.
so much
Exactly.
flattery. Yeah,
That was a
constantly
great-
that people
that was
are
a
like,
great
this
point
is
that you gave there.
ridiculous.
That's
It's
perfect.
too much.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to start using that more because it actually does work. It's like a good shorthand for saying like, oh, you're excessively flattering. No, like glazing. It's pretty good.
It's so funny. Like I've seen people online be like, "Oh, I have some system prompt for Claude that, gets rid of that, and it doesn't glaze me anymore." And it's like I keep saying to myself, "Yeah, I should probably do that." And then I'm like, "Yeah, but it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice to
Yeah.
have somebody tell me like that was a great question.
Mhm.
Like,
What a great point.
what a great insight. Like, okay, nothing wrong with that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Don't be mean to Claude. Claude won't be mean to you.
Right. Don't like having read a lot of robot apocalypse books. Yeah. When I see these people like kicking robot dogs and trying to like tip them over and stuff, it's like, you are going to be the first to get,
That'll be in their database.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
It's so funny that you mentioned that, Jack, because last week we talked about a new helper robot that's been created called the Neo. It's going to be a home assistant robot.
Oh, that thing. Oh my
And
God, that was so funny.
it's very scary looking when you look at it. It freaks me out. But in our Discord, one of our normal commenters was talking about how the first thing that he would try and do would be to tip it over. And I
Yeah.
was like, this is the person who's going to get it first because he
Yeah.
Was that the one that had the human pilot that was?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to watch it like empty a dishwasher.
Yeah.
It's so bad. And then oh yeah, there was another one where he's like cooking eggs. He just like threw the eggs. So like the guy's like screaming at it, like, please stop. Please. I think that one was actually autonomous though. It was so bad. Oh my God. Yeah.
There's just one more word on this list that I want to highlight just because I liked it a lot. I've never heard anybody use this before, but task masking. So this is the act of giving a false impression that one is being productive in the workplace. So I kind of like this task mask. They're task masking. The only thing is it's so hard to say task
It is.
masking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is not great.
I mean,
Yeah.
that is a pretty good description, though, of jobs that I've had in the past. Not necessarily development, but just office jobs where there's not enough for me to do during a day. So I'm just like hanging out at my computer, surfing the web, like reading articles and waiting till I can go home.
I think that's why I like this. I don't like the word itself, but this concept is something that I've seen in every job I've ever done. It's, sometimes it's me doing it, sometimes it's other people, but it's there's like an art to looking productive when you're not actually doing anything.
Yeah. I remember there used to be like games that would have like a key combo that would like open up a spreadsheet immediately, and then you unkey like hit escape and it would go back to like the game again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. All right. Any more lightning news?
I think that's it.
All right. Let's find out what's making us happy. Paige, what's making you happy this week?
Professionally done holiday lights are what's making me happy this week. And
wow.
not like you hire somebody to do your house necessarily, but like you go somewhere and they have decked out the area with great holiday lights. So the one that I'm thinking of in particular that kind of sparked this was in the Atlanta Botanical Gardens here where I live. They do a big holiday lights thing, and it starts in the middle of November, so just this week, and it goes through the end of January, and they open up the park, or they keep the gardens open late, so till 9 or 10 p.m. every night. And you can buy tickets and you can go, and it is just a winter wonderland of lights. All the trees are covered. There's music. There's hot chocolate. There's
gotta have the hot chocolate. Yeah.
There's massive just light displays and poinsettia trees. Like they made an entire Christmas tree shape out of red and white poinsettias. And it's just so fun to walk around in the dark and see all these beautiful combinations. There's like a little Christmas village where they have tiny trains running, which is really fun to see. Yeah, it's just really, really cool. And it's been a few years since the last time I went, and they've added to it, of course. So I was there earlier this week, just walking around and enjoying it, and it's really fun. It's, it gets you into the mood of the holidays and kind of reminds you that, oh my gosh, we are already in the middle of November. How did that happen? The holidays are coming up. But, if you have things like this, either neighborhoods maybe in your area that go all out for Christmas, or national parks, I know a lot of times will do these kinds of light displays as well. You should go see one because it's really fun, and it really kind of gets you into the spirit if you're not necessarily feeling it yet.
Yeah. Yeah, in Portland we have zoo lights. So it's a similar sort of thing, but it's in the zoo, and so you actually get to see some of the critters up late too. And it is like every year it's bigger and bigger and bigger, and they got the hot chocolate and then the train. Yeah, it's great.
That I was actually going to say the same thing. Our biggest things are the zoos, the Lansing Zoo, and then the Grand Rapids Zoo actually goes all out, and theirs is kind of crazy, and you have to get a reserved time to go through it because they have to. It's so popular, they have to introduce crowd control essentially. Wow. So you get a designated slot to go through. Theirs is next level, but it's very cool. I got to judge a little bit because I'm sure in Atlanta you're doing it when it's like 70 degrees, which to me is like,
that
even
is
in Portland,
true.
it's probably like 50 or whatever.
Yeah.
You got to be.
It's fairly nice.
To truly get into the season, you got to be doing this, and you have to have borderline frostbite after you get done with your walk in the zoo. Like, you got the hot chocolate hits a little harder when you're freezing, so
you can't feel your nose by the end of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Like the hot chocolate is somewhat like medicinal at that point.
I gotta say, there's nothing like hot nights in the summer in Atlanta and in Georgia. They're just absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, it's not gorgeous on freezing cold nights in Lansing or Grand Rapids. It's really just kind of a miserable tundra, basically.
Yeah, exactly. The trees are gone. No leaves.
You're wondering why the hell you still live here, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. On that fun note, TJ, what's making you happy?
We got, speaking of decorations, made me think of a decoration we got. We got one of the, so a lot of the new decorations, at least around us, are these like inflatable things that you can put out on your lawn or whatever. And we finally decided to get one, and we got a dragon that's based like Halloween colors that we were putting up. And I just love this thing. It's so cool. I was very skeptical, but it was just a cheap, I think it was a Walmart purchase. So I'll make sure to get the right one in the show notes, because of course it's Walmart.
Well, and Pixar didn't happen. So
yeah. I'll drop a pic in the Discord as well, so people can check it out actually at our house. But I don't know, it's just fun. It's making me happy because it's we still have, Halloween is over, but to me it's not time for the Christmas lights quite yet. So the dragon's getting a little bit of an extended run, so it's still out there, so I can still get a picture tonight.
A lot of people leave up, the Halloween stuff. Or I actually, when I went on my run this morning, I already saw Christmas stuff up. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
It's not even Thanksgiving yet.
I feel like Thanksgiving is the unofficial start of Christmas decorations. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's our line too, usually, because the Thanksgiving holiday is normally just the most convenient time to put that stuff up too, because you have some time off work, you have a chance to actually do it.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, what's making me happy this weekend is actually, amazingly enough, a technical thing. So Cursor just released their Composer 1 model, and they actually gave 3 days of free access to it, unlimited, just recently. And I gotta say, man, I used the heck out of those 3 days. Like, I just went to town on using that because it is an incredibly fast LLM. It's not as good as Sonnet, but I mean, it's close enough, and it's incredibly fast. So when you do like one of those planning things, I mean, you kind of expect that you hit plan and then it's just going chow, and then you go and get a coffee or whatever. And it's like, no. I mean, by the time you're like thinking about getting a coffee, it's halfway to done. And then you hit build and it's like, oh, okay, that was actually a fairly significant feature, and it was like fast. Yeah. So it was impressive, and I don't know, man. Like the thing about Cursor is they've got like the auto mode, which is your plan mode. Like not plan, but like your financial plan.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, essentially if you're in auto, it's whatever your max is on that plan, and it's basically essentially unlimited and probably throttled. But then if you pick a particular model, then it's like on demand and you actually pay, like extra for that. So I might actually end up like chipping in a couple $100 to like get more composer time because it's just so good and so fast. It's ridiculous.
Was there anything in particular that you built with Composer that you were really impressed with?
I can't really talk about it too much, but it's going to be really cool. So it's the kind of thing where it's going to be on top of TanStack Start, and it's going to like really pop for people. So I'm really blown away by it, and it was not technically a very simplistic thing. It was actually like there's WebSockets involved, and there's another server, and there's a UI, and it's all whoa. And it's persistent and all that. So, but it's interesting. It is AI. It is around AI. And I do kind of think that sometimes these models are really good at making code for AI. Like when you talk about AI to AI, and it's really good at that. It's also really good at UI. Like, if want to make this, radial, whatever, blah, 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 blah backdrop. It seems to do a pretty good job at that.
Nice, because that has always, it seemed like, been an Achilles heel of the AI agents, is that they're terrible at CSS just in general.
Well, you're picky about your CSS. I'm not. If it looks right, it's good. It's right enough for me. But
I am. I don't want a bunch of extra positioning or like font weight bold or whatever in there if it doesn't need to be there. That's true.
See, if you use Tailwind, though, you end up stop being picky because you're like, I don't even know what these class names are doing anyways. So, great.
It looks right.
Just ship it.
Oh, my God. Paige would hate the fact that, like, in my CSS file, my styles file for this app, it has CSS, but then the CSS applies Tailwind to make the classes. She'd be like, "Oh, what? Why did you do this?"
I will say I like that Cursor is focusing on speed, because I thought that today. I've been working with Claude a lot in the last 2 days, and Claude has been good. It's still my favorite tool, but man, sometimes it takes 3 or 4 minutes to do its thing, and it really does kind of throw you off context, because you can't there's sometimes where I want to edit a file to see what happens while Claude's cooking, essentially, but then I don't want to because that'll like throw off the state, right? I kind of want Claude to completely finish with what it's doing before then I go in and sort of look in, and it sometimes throws off my flow. So I might have to look into Composer, just because if that helps me flow better, then even if it's not as good or as talented, I still might end up being more productive with it.
Yeah. And I wonder if people are using multiple agents because it's really a bottleneck on the LLM side, right? So you could run potentially like, okay, I'm going to have an agent go off and build this form, and then I'm going to have another agent go off and like build a nav, and it's like I know those two things aren't really going to mess with each other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're both slow, that's fine. But like Composer is so fast that it's like you can't, like, it's just like done, and it's like, oh, I have to just re-engage with it like right now, kind of thing. Yeah.
Interesting.
Maybe I'll drop a few $100 on it too.
There you go. There you go.
In the
this
name
is how
of
they
science.
get us.
Yep.
It is how they get you. Yeah. All right. Well, this has been a really fun episode. Yeah. And be sure to go check out our Discord channel. Jump in there. Talk to us about all things full stack, AI,
Robots,
kicking robots, Christmas lights, all that good stuff. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Bye,
See you
everybody.
then.